happy Monday, Ty. It is going to be the busiest week because it's the end of the month. You and I know that this is kind of the marathon, and now this is the sprint to get it done, especially because this is the second month in Q1.
It is, and we are ready to go. We are geared up, and we are so ready to go. We have obviously we're going to end the year the month strong. It's been a great quarter so far, lots of activity, and then we're moving into our penultimate month in the quarter, which is March, where we get to celebrate another Coach Con. This time for executive coaches. So we're super excited. The momentum has just been real, like just going from one to the next and staying consistent and delivering as promised and so on. And yeah, we're loving it.
Well, and Ty, I always think about 4 years ago when you did it on your napkin and you had this vision. And, guys, we don't usually get to explore that as founders because we're just so busy in the work. But Ty, look at where it is today. This is going to be the third Coach Con.
Yeah.
There's hundreds of lives, thousands of lives that have been impacted already by what you've done, how the team has supported you, the board, and yet there's so much more still ahead. So what does it feel like to be in this surreal moment that Coach Con really is serving who you've always wanted to, was help us in the community?
It's really just a matter of staying constant, knowing what we started off to do, what we wanted to venture into, and making sure that we are every day living that promise, right? And so we made a promise and we want to help and serve, and we're doing that. And some days are better than others. Some days we have people coming to us and saying, this was so groundbreaking for me. And then some days we have, 2, 3, 4 people showing up on a live. But the reality is regardless of what it is, and this is what we teach, we have to be consistent, stay true to the promise, and keep going. And that persistence is what I live for. It's the thing that I know will make the difference in one person's life. I just need one person to be impacted by what we're doing, and it's all worth it.
And guys, that's really where true abundance and wealth comes from. And I know that a lot of people feel like that's just woo woo, or Ty, you and I've had tons of pushback from people who are like, well, just teach me the system. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. It's the impact, the intent. That is really why you don't see these spikes. You see more consistent and flow because the impact is what, Ty, you started this all with. And this is what you coach clients on.
There's a saying, there was this old elderly Black gentleman who had won an Academy Award, and it plays over and over on Instagram with his speech. And he said there are 3 things. And the one thing that stood out in his speech is the fastest way to get to where you want to go is to go slowly. And so I took that not to mean that just take your time, but rather be sure, be confident, move in a very regulated cadence that allows you to achieve the things you want to. Everybody who's rushing for the gold and just want to be quick rich, or just want to drive for fast results will eventually fall down. Because the goal is to do it well and do it right and do it long term, or do it sustainable. And everything along the way will take time, and it will be measured, and it will, take a little bit of patience. And if you understand all that going into it, you will achieve the result you want to achieve. Just stay focused, stay consistent, stay dedicated to the thing you want to stay, you want to promise, you want to deliver.
And guys, you know what? You don't have to have it all figured out. I think, Ty, when they look at you successful, winning the recent award in Fort Lauderdale, it was so fun to see him just get this trophy, just to see the fact that everything he does, guys, is just that at that level, right? That level of excellence. Ty, I think a lot of people think, well, I can't be like a Ty. I can't be like a Char. And we're not asking you to do that. We're just asking you for the next 90 days, what's your plan? Stick to that so that habit can then become muscle memory, that it just happens naturally.
Yeah, we don't have it figured out. I can tell you right now, everything that we're doing is an iteration of the thing we did last. But what we do have figured out is that we know we want to get to a goal. We know we want to serve and deliver and be consistent. And we may do things that don't work, right? We may do things that don't fit. I learned the last time we did Coach Con that the branding was really broad, right? The journey to wellness was really broad. And so we learned that we have to be a little bit more targeted and focused and speak to the audience that we want to speak to very specifically, and not try to incorporate everyone. we made a
Right.
slight pivot to the next Coach Con. So the next Coach Con is going to be more of a TV show, a TV series format instead of just a one-time conference, because people want the content beyond the Coach Con, beyond the 3-day session. And so just a lot of iterations and changes. We don't have it figured out, but we do know that we want to continue to serve and deliver for this particular market, this particular group of folks. And so we're just going to continue to learn from our mistakes, iterate, and continue to move forward in that direction.
Right. And Ty, when we talk about corporate moving to executive, coach, but an entrepreneur way, I think a lot of people are scared, especially because, a W-2 is really comfortable, guys. A lot of you are, just kind of going to work and you kind of just follow, but you want more. And that feeling of you want more is where we want to really focus in on this upcoming CoachCon, because there is more. There is more out there for you. And I think us recovering from corporate is not a bad thing. It's just realizing that in order for us to really live our purpose out loud, we had to change what we were doing in order to do that. And Ty, you've seen this time and time again with even your own clients you coach.
Yeah, the shift from corporate is it's great, right? I spent 14 years in corporate. It was the Harvard of learning business for me, because during my time in corporate, many of those years were not great years in the company that I worked in. And so a lot of folks, we learned how to do a lot with a little bit of resources and still achieve an outcome. But it was a safety net. It was that opportunity to know that you're going to get a paycheck every month, whether or not you achieve the results you were going to achieve or you were meant to achieve. You were going to get a paycheck, which was a safety zone, which is good. And there are people who are at that point in life. Not everybody is designed to be a leader or wants to make a massive impact. But for those of you who do, and you find yourself stymied and struggled in the corporate environment, you can break away. You can step away. And sometimes that stepping away is the thing you need to do to say, okay, you know what? I have no choice. If I don't do this, I won't make money. I won't make rent. I won't be able to feed myself for the next month or 2 months or whatever, or I'll get into massive and erroneous debt. And so then you start making conscious decisions. I'm going to have to do this, and I'm going to have to do it well, and I'm going to have to learn how to do it along the way, and I'm going to have to iterate. All of those things become the reality. And so it sometimes it happens to you because you get laid off. So you're forced into that position. And then other times you feel confident enough that you do take the plunge. You either have a nest egg, your 401k, your IRA, everything's already sorted. So you know you have a fallback plan and you take the next step. Either way, the step gets taken and success is achieved.
Well, and I don't know if, a lot of them ever felt like that was possible, Ty. I mean, think about your 14 years, right? Think about my, 4 years. I didn't know it was possible. I just thought, this was checking the boxes. I think this was my mindset. This was something I just thought was what was normal, right? When you're going from college to career to, execution in life. It's not normal for us.
You don't know what you don't know, right? And so you think, okay, when you're in that 4-year cycle or that 14-year cycle, that this is it, right? This is, you are in your zone, your lane, whatever that corporate role is, and you know how to run that particular part of the company. And then there's like 10,000 other people running other parts of the company that you've never seen or you don't know and you don't interact with. And so in your mind, you think, okay, well, I'm going to stay in my lane, I'm going to stay in my lane, and I'm going to achieve the things I can achieve because I know how to do that really, really well. And sometimes the daunting thing is like moving into a coaching practice as a corporate executive, teaching or coaching corporate leaders. You may have the advice to give a corporate leader, right? Whether that's imposter syndrome, whether that's confidence, whether that's, public speaking, whether that's leading a team. You may have that skill set. But then the concern becomes, well, how do I actually build a business around it, right? How do I market and get new clients? How do I keep clients in the door? How do I build a program or a package that has a recurring revenue component to it? That becomes the daunting part. When people start teasing and start entering and start saying, okay, I'm not quite sure I want to do this, it's not because they don't know that they're good at what they're doing. It's because they aren't sure about the business side of it. And that's where we come in. That's the community that we're shaping and we're founding. And that's what we're trying to bring people into. This opportunity to really like double down on a space where everybody's just like you, learning how to build a business around their coaching practice, whether that coaching practice is in health and wellness, whether it's executive leadership, whether it's becoming a business coach, all of those things, people are trying to build the same practice around that coaching vertical.
Well, and I think this is it, guys. And please forgive me for saying this, Ty, because I've seen this in my own journey as being an executive, moving into, coaching other executives, you know enough today to make this happen. And that's where hyper niching in, maybe moving, and I'll just use this as an example from one of my clients, moving from a C-suite role to coach other C-suites. You know enough in your career already to help them. That 1% difference, guys, is what makes all the difference. It's just like the US Olympics. It's that 2 second that people spend thousands and thousands of hours practicing in order to get that 2 second right win against their competitors. So Ty, I think a lot of times we feel overwhelmed to do it. I think we put too much into what we think we have to have perfect when it's not.
Yeah, the thing is if you just start, and the evolution of, and we've talked through this a couple of times, the evolution of a coaching practice is, you start, you do your one-to-ones, you move into group coaching, then you build a course, the course sells automated, you have community coaching where you people peer-to-peer coach within a community group, and then you can go into VIP packages and VIP days and those types of things where you spend 6 to 8 hours with someone. But ultimately, the goal is to go from you sharing your knowledge in a limited way, refining the distribution or disbursement of that knowledge into a repeatable format, and then bringing in folks who can support you, or scaling to a group program where you can serve many people at one time. Before you can get there, you just have to pull the trigger and get started with that one person. Do that one-to-one, get feedback, refine a little bit, and then do another person, and get feedback and refine a bit and do a third person. But continuously, again, as I said before, staying consistent and persistent, because this is the promise you've made and you want to deliver.
So Ty, as they figure out where to go, I'm going to put our link on here, guys, so that you guys can register, reach out to us, connect. What's the best way for them to just kind of get this mindset that we want them to look at what's possible?
Yeah, listen, you are not alone. You're not the first coach. You're not the first executive transitioning into coaching. You're not the first corporate coach or executive coach who's building a coaching practice. You're not the first executive coach who's going from one-to-one to one-to-many. All of these are things that we're going to discuss and cover at the upcoming CoachCon. So visit us at www.coachcon.global, and you'll see it's March 24th and 25th. We're doing something a little different. We are recording the sessions. And so this could be your opportunity really to also be on camera, to have visibility, because this is going to go on our YouTube channel. And so that visibility, you may find 3-4 months from now, somebody contacts you and says, hey, I saw you on the CoachCon channel for the executive leadership thing. I like what you said. Can you tell us a little bit more about, what you were talking about? And this is not you becoming a speaker. This is you engaging with the speakers that we're bringing on. They're already mapped out for the 2 days that we're having CoachCon, and really learning and advising and engaging in the building of your practice. So 24th and 25th of March, we start at 4 p.m. on the 24th, and we go all the way into the 25th and end at 1:30 a.m. Sorry, 4:30 p.m. into 1:30 p.m. So we'll see you there. All the information can be found at www.coachcon.global.
Well, again, guys, remember, you don't have to do everything all at once. We're just trying to tell you where to start. And so, again, reach out to Ty. He's always here on LinkedIn. I'm here always on LinkedIn. We can connect and chat. You can go straight to the website. It's right here streaming right now. And we would love to have you there. Connect with us. Have some conversations. Be vulnerable. Tell us what you're afraid of. Because I'm sure that no one else has had that fear. Just kidding. Everyone has the same fear when they're trying to do something new and different. Thanks so much, Ty.
Thanks, Char.